Chiefs win the Super Bowl.
Chiefs win. Cry, Eagles, cry.
Great, excited to be back in the league.
You know, every day I got the Three Stooges in the studio with me is a good fucking day.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
So let's make sure he gets that bag.
F-R-A-U-D-S, fries! Woo!
Justin's way ahead in picks. That's all that you need to fucking know.
Show's over.
Show's over. We're going home. I'd like to welcome you back to another page of the Playbook Sports Podcast. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Playbook Sports Podcast. We got Opal, we got Cephs, you got your boy Nate here. Let's talk a little bit about the big news around the NFL today. I think the Eagles watched Bobby's mock draft and heard what I had to say at the very beginning, where I was like, hey, there's nothing going on in the NFL. Biggest news out of the NFL is Chosen Anderson to Miami, baby. And they're like, haha, that's cute. Today, locking up Jalen Hurts, 5 years, $255 million. 51 on average per season. Obviously, the cap hits are different. They have a lot of it due in the last 2 years. I don't know if you guys saw that, but like he doesn't hit 30 million a year until like year 3 of this extension. So 4 years from now. And then he's like 75, 80 against the cap. But they're just going to push that off. Like that money's all fake. It's not real money.
Yeah.
But what are your guys' instant reactions to that contract for Hurts? You like it? You dislike it? What do you think? And then I'll go because I got stats and stuff I want to go through.
Well, I absolutely love it immediately. Just getting to the Super Bowl with Hurts, just the steps you've taken since losing Wentz. It was a big question. That guy's number 2 overall pick. He obviously had the team rolling for a while. Things were falling apart. Jalen Hurts out of nowhere, second-round draft pick. Comes up, takes over this team, gets the right staff around him, right players around him as well, and they take off, man. You got to strike while the iron's hot with Jalen Hurts. I mean, comes out and even gets you to the playoffs, wins your division, wins the playoff game. You can't get to the Super Bowl every year. You're not Patrick Mahomes. Not every team has that. That would just be another good season for Hurts to go, hey, look, man, I've got us competing. More money. So you get it while it's hot right now. And like you said, they pushed a little bit farther, which is what you love to see, though, because the cap just continues to rise. Right. And it's just going to continue to rise every year. More money comes in. All teams are allowed to spend a little bit more. All these contracts look a little bit better. So doing it now, love that. Love pushing money down, too, because it won't be as big as it seems now in the future. And he's the core piece, though, of that entire offense, that entire team. So you got to get him locked up while you can.
Yeah. Colin, as a Cowboys fan, what do you think about that contract?
I like it. We talked about jokingly, when we were in the studio talking about all this, I was like, oh, hopefully it's 50+ million annually. And here we are joking about it. And it is 50+ annual. It's one of those things as well. You got to lock him down, especially after what you saw this past season. I think he's proven the progression year 1 to year 2. And as you mentioned, they backloaded the hell out of the contract. So it's not going to hurt them up front as far as re-signing and retaining their players as well. Not as much guaranteed as Deshaun, not as much guaranteed as Lamar probably wants. It's a lot of money, but at the end of the day, I think it's a dub contract for the Eagles and for Jalen Hurts as well.
Yeah. I heard Lamar's looking to get like 200, like he has an offer on the table for 200 guaranteed. Yeah. I'm starting to think that okay, if he doesn't take that, then I don't know what to say. Like I'm obviously a big Lamar guy and he should get his money, but if he's getting more guaranteed than Jalen Hurts, who just had the season he had, I think that you should take that personally. Like the Deshaun Watson thing's not going to happen again. They're making that a point. You have to recognize that. And yeah, Daniel Jones just got 40 a year, but look at where the market is, man. The market is sky high for these quarterbacks right now. You go to Spot Track and look up like these upcoming quarterbacks market value, and it's like 48 a year, 47 a year.
It's like continue to rise too. Exactly.
Right. It's just going to go up.
Most important position where all money goes. If you're good, it's just going to be a higher percentage. Like you said, it's not like Herbert. If he wins, gets the AFC Championship game, God forbid Herbert gets to the Super Bowl, like he might be able to actually push for near 60 million.
I think Burrow will push for 60.
Yeah, and that's just realistic because where the cap goes and these quarterbacks is just the best demand. I will say, I don't know if anyone's topping Deshaun Watson's guaranteed money. Fully guaranteed 230 million, man. That's a joke. But for Lamar's point, hopefully he does take that deal because I think the Ravens are a winner with him. Mm-hmm. And he said he doesn't want Deshaun's contract exactly, so he's not looking for the exact same. He just wants what he feels like he earned. And 200 million, man. If that's really what they're offering, fully guaranteed, I hope he jumps on that.
Same. I haven't heard it from his mouth, obviously, but it's just reported. Right. If that's what it is, man.
At all.
Yeah, being reported that, like he should probably jump on that, in my opinion. Let's look at the stat. Let's dive into Jalen Hurts a little bit. So, numbers through his first 3 seasons, passing wise, he's a 62% completion percentage. Not terrible. I don't know where that ranks, but it's not bad. It's not atrocious. 7,906 yards, 44 touchdowns to 19 interceptions, rushing 1,900 yards, 26 touchdowns to 15 fumbles. So all in total, statistically, his numbers, 9,804 yards, which is just shy of 3,300 combined yards a season, 70 touchdowns, which is about 23, and 34 turnovers, which is just north of 11. Not bad at all, especially, well, but then when you look into like how he did this past season was far and away his best season. First year, he was like a part-time starter. There, Wentz was on the way out. He wasn't really full-time guy. Second year, first year they went 4-11-1. I don't put that on him. I don't hold him to that at all, really. Second year, it went 9-8, lost in the wild card round. I will say in that game, he did not, the people who like to knock on Lamar and why Lamar shouldn't get his contract. And obviously we're going to be comparing the two because they have similar styles in how they play the game. They're both running athletic quarterbacks that can also make throws. People like to say, oh, Lamar didn't play well in the playoffs. Jalen Hurts doesn't play very well in the playoffs, man. We forget that because he did just ball out in the Super Bowl. I won't take that away from him, and I'll have the stats on that in a second. But his first playoff game against the Bucs, he went 23 of 43 for 258, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. That's, they got whooped by the Bucs. Bucs kicked their butt. Bucs were really good. This past season, 14-3, fantastic season, lost in the Super Bowl. Against the Giants, he went 16 of 24 for $154, 2 touchdowns. Not great, but they won. Against the Niners, he went 15 of 25 for only 121 yards, no touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, no passing touchdowns. So he wasn't in 2 playoff games that they won, put up 30 plus points in both of them. He had 275 yards and 3 total touchdowns. That's like 1 normal game. So I would say his playoff performances hasn't been that spectacular. But then against the Chiefs, he had 304 passing yards and a passing touchdown to go along with 70 rushing yards and 3 rushing touchdowns. That was a fantastic game, regardless of the loss. Fantastically played by him. And I think I like that they signed him. I think they did what the Ravens should have done and just locked him down. You've got him because they have him for this season at $6 million. And then they've backloaded the holy hell out of his contract. I think it's a good signing. It's a lot of money if you just take it at what it is. If you look at the numbers and just say, oh my God, he's going to get $51 million next year. No way. But they didn't structure it like that. Howie Roseman is a very good GM. And he structured it well by backloading a lot of it. And the Eagles were up against the wall, man. He doesn't have a 5th-year option. This upcoming season is his last season under contract. You have to pay him now, or you risk him going crazy next year and asking for 55, 60 million a season. And also, you wanted to get a contract in before Burrow and Herbert got theirs, because now that's the standard and what they want. They're gonna ask for more money. Burrow's been to a Super Bowl also. He's been to 2 AFC championship games. The guy is considered one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. Like, he's gonna get this much money at least. But now he's like, hey, Hurts got that. I want that.
Oh, I mean, to touch on Hurts, it's like you said, 70 touchdowns over 3 seasons. He had 9 total his first year in the league. You said where you're the semi-starts, the weird packages. He only had 9, 6 passing, 3 rushing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's 61 touchdowns over 2 years. And just to touch on the playoff stats, I mean, it's tough though when you look at his playoff games.
Right.
I mean, the first one, Tampa Bay, when they were still competing with Tom, got down early, had to throw the ball 43 times. Obviously, he missed 20 passes, which is tough. But then last year, I mean, 38-7, 31-7. Do you even need a quarterback to put up numbers? No. And it's just the same thing as Jimmy G, man. Mm-hmm. When he threw 9 times or 8 times at the NFC Championship game, you want that.
Right.
And I want my playoff stats to be bad because we're dominating. Like you said, Nate, in the biggest moment, biggest game when they
came out,
answered every question.
Yep.
Best Philadelphia Eagle in the Super Bowl, no question. Maybe best player in general.
Yeah.
And it's just like you said, what do the Eagles do here? Oh yeah, we're just gonna let this guy go. Like, you can't do that as an organization if you're trying to build success, and just as fan base as well. That'd be a riot. So again, love the deal. Like you said, love the pushing the backloaded contract. Just helps for the cap future situation. And like you said, they're back up against the wall now, and they've got their guy signed. So That's just a great feeling.
Yeah. I don't have anything against this contract. I think that this is how you do it, man. You pay your player who puts his body on the line for you every single week. You pay him what the market dictates. Do you think you should pay one player 23% of your cap? Maybe not. But if that's what the market is, it's what it is. You can't change that. You can't be mad at it because it is what it is. And that's what he gets for getting them to a Super Bowl and being the runner-up to the MVP this year.
Yeah.
You pay for that. That's why Daniel Jones got 40 a year.
I mean, shit, his performance in the Super Bowl,
Mhm.
if one guy's getting 23%, shit, that guy carried. You got to think maybe that's worth it. Sorry to cut you off there, Steve. Felt like you were just about to say something, but
Oh, I was going to dive into it, but yeah, I agree. He was by far the best Eagle. I mean, just that fumble 6 that he conceded was literally the only play that cost him, in my opinion. That was the only bad play I think he had in the entire game. But just comparing the two, Lamar and Jalen, obviously we're talking about Lamar getting paid as well. Just the slight differential and like guaranteed, in my opinion, between the contracts is you just look at body type. You look at how slender Lamar is, and that's not a knock on him because that helps his agility, obviously, in the open field. But that maybe, allows him not to absorb as many hits. And yes, Jalen Hurts has missed games as well. We saw at the end of this past season. That was, he's nicked up and they have the one seed locked. If they're fighting for a spot, he's going to play through those games, I believe. Yeah. So no worry with him, like durability wise going forward. I think he's solid physically. And then you look at both of him and Lamar as well, just no worries off the field. These are guys that you're not going to have to worry about, getting into some late night bullshit out with buddies. Both very mature and a guy you definitely are okay with giving, hundreds of millions of dollars to be your franchise guy.
Yeah, I mean, when you just listen to Jalen Hurts talk, you go, damn, this guy is just the definition of committed to his craft. Like he just wants to win so damn bad. He wants the team to be on that same level as him, and definitely comes from Saban at Alabama. And he just sees it translates, and he's doing it now in the league. Got the entire locker room behind him, obviously. One thing for Hurts, though, is he really did do the 3-year quarterback growth as well. Talk about how Josh Allen did it. Hurts did it as well with minimal playing time his first year. Second year, there was progress, made the playoffs, the whole 9. And then the third year, he steps up big with the deep ball, too. I mean, obviously, you got to get that weapon. But, man, you look at a quarterback's progression from year 1 to year 3, Jalen Hurts did it perfect, man. That organization did it very well, and he jumped on train, and he got it done, too.
Honestly, all 4 of the quarterback from the 2020 draft, those first 4, other not counting Jordan Love because he hasn't played, but the other 4 quarterbacks taken in Burrow, Herbert, Tua, and Jalen Hurts, they all had much better third years than their first. Although Burrow had a really good second year too, and Herbert's always had the stats, but he looked even better his third year. There's just noticeable growth from that quarterback class so far, which is good to see. It's what you want to see.
What's one thing though that is common denominator for all those guys?
Weapon.
Each team went out and got out that guy a weapon. Sure, Bengals did it through the draft, and I mean Dolphins sort of draft and Tyreek.
And
it's like Diggs for Allen, Brown for Hurts, and look what happens. Quarterbacks take off.
Yeah, Brown and Smith for Hurts.
Yeah.
They went and picked up some weapons, man, and they've got a killer defense, obviously, which helped them. But yeah, they dominated this season, 14-3 en route to Super Bowl, where they just came up against a buzzsaw and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And quickly before we move on, you talked about Nate, him being 23% of their cap. I mean, there's a reason he's nicknamed what he's nicknamed. I think you give a guy that's called the system. He is your system. I think you give that guy the biggest piece of the pie because he is the most important person on the offensive side, at least, of the ball.
Agreed. And he is just like I don't mind that if they're running that quarterback sneak play with someone like Lamar, I'd be more concerned about him getting hurt. But Jalen Hurts is so thick and strong. Like he's just going to go. He's like a fullback in size, man. He's a freak athlete.
Freak like 600 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah. Guy's insane. I don't have any problem with this contract. It will make it interesting. Does Burrow now ask for more than this? Does Herbert ask for more than this? It's like, okay, what are we going to do with all of these big old contracts that are coming up now? It's going to be interesting. Like you said, though, Addison, the cap space is only going to go up. And once that YouTube TV deal comes out, man, that money is just going to keep rising.
The money does still rise, but at the end of the day, the percentage, man, that doesn't change. You know what I mean? It's only 100%. And if you're still eating 23, sure, the number can be different and higher. But man, 22%. You look at Brady in the midst of those Super Bowl runs, he's earning 13% of the cap, 12% of the cap, when he could have been demanding 25%.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And what quarterback here is going to do that and put their team? They got to understand my growth and money here, but also the team. Like I want to try to be winning. I could see Burrow doing something like that just because the guy seems like he wants to win so bad. But also when you're getting offered $280 million, You know what I mean? Potential. It's like, man, maybe it's not so bad to take up more cap, but we'll
Right.
see what. Yeah.
Hard to take a discount. And like we said before we started the show, when Mahomes got his 10-year, $500 million contract, we're like, oh my God, that's insane. Now it looks like a bargain, especially the way they structured it. It's like, oh, he's making like the 10th most money as a quarterback, and he's without a question the best player in the NFL.
Yep.
So in a few years, who knows what that contract will look like? We'll probably be like, damn, that's a steal. That was a steal. Good job.
Mhm.
I am interested to hear what you guys think about this, though. Who would you take as your quarterback right now going into this season? Jalen Hurts or Justin Herbert?
Hmm.
Who would
That's
you
a
take?
good one. That's a
Right?
damn
It's
good
tough.
one. I mean, it's
Tough.
really tough. I mean, talent. I mean, just like what you want out of a quarterback, you got to maybe think Herbert just because the arm strength is there. But then when you look at what they've done on the field and who's done it and gotten to the Super Bowl, but then you got to also take into account AFC, NFC.
Yeah. It's tough.
That's tough. I'd probably go Hurts just because I feel like he'd get that team rallied around him. Not that Herbert doesn't do the same, but Hurts can just command that and be the complete leader. And I mean, obviously, this isn't a knock to Herbert because he is a leader,
Mhm.
but is he the guy that's going to demand the most out of his teammates because that's just what he expects? He wants everyone at the top of the level. Maybe not. Hurts is calling out every single person, anybody in a meeting room. I guarantee it. He's the guy. So I'm gonna take that guy that can control a locker room. Give me Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
I'm probably taking Hurts as well. It's tough to say because obviously situationally it matters. Who are their weapons? Who's their line? What's their defense look like? But I think I'd go Hurts simply because I think he could control a game more offensively in the aspect of controlling the tempo of the game. We can go 8-9 minute drives and just milk this thing if we have a bad defense. Keep them off the field. You can't score if they're not on the field. So I don't know. I'd probably go Hurts just in the aspect of I think he can just do more offense, or he can do less, or he can do more better, but maybe less greater, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'd rather be consistently good than occasionally great. And
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts is consistently good and with flashes of greatness, whereas Herbert can give you kind of that roller coaster ride where
Right.
he'll throw where he'll have a 27-0 lead going into the second half and then score no more points.
Yeah.
Whereas Jalen Hurts is probably putting up another 14 to 21 points because he's just consistent. He's very consistent. That's why I'm also for Hurts. I would also take Hurts over Herbert. I think Hurts is like that guy where you see, like if you had to get down in the mud for whatever reason and crawl somewhere, Hurts is probably leading the way and down there in the trenches within the shit. I don't know if Herbert is. Maybe Herbert is, but Hurts is just such a he's a leader. Hurts is more of a leader in my opinion. He's the guy that everyone wants to play with. I think he's going to be really good in the league for a long time. Colin, sorry, he's in your division.
Yeah.
I get
We'll
it.
see what the team looks like around him.
Yes, agreed. But that's all we've got kind of on the Jalen Hurts contract talk. It's a huge extension. This is the first domino of the quarterback class of 2020 to fall. There's 4 more to go. 3 of them are going to be asking for him, and one of them we don't know anything about because he hasn't played yet.